I love new tech, but what I don't love is new tech that breaks if you look at it the wrong way, which is why I've always been weary of foldable phones. So when OPPO reached out to me asking to test the durability of their new foldable, the Find N5, I was excited to test just how durable the slimmest foldable phone in the industry really was. Because at just 229 grams, the OPPO Find N5 is the lightest book-style foldable from OPPO and the world's thinnest book-style foldable ever in the industry, measuring 4.21 millimeters when unfolded and 8.93 millimeters when folded. It's slimmer than my wallet after taking my wife out to Red Lobster. Not even the Samsung Z Fold 6 comes close to how thin and light this is, because the Find N5 is 10 grams lighter, 1.39 millimeters thinner unfolded, and 3.17 millimeters thinner when folded. Now it might not sound like much, but you of all people know every millimeter counts. And every gram saved makes a difference when you're holding a phone for 10 hours a day. Now compared to my iPhone 16 Pro, it's only 0.6 millimeters thicker when folded, but 4.09 millimeters thinner when unfolded. When you're talking about something that has two screens versus one measly screen, that's an insane statistic. This sleek design is made possible through structural optimizations and the application of over 20 material innovations to the hinge, display, middle frame, and more. Mechanically, it differs significantly from typical industry practices. But surely, there's no way a phone that's barely thicker than a USB-C port can possibly survive a teardown from the greatest technician that's ever lived. Or can it? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's slap it on the heat mat to loosen the adhesive on the cover screen. OPPO uses ultra-thin nano crystal glass on this bright beauty, but the battery is the real star of the show here. This magical slab of power is OPPO's self-developed silicon carbon battery, coming in at only 2.1 millimeters thick, which is as thin as a penny, or as I call it, my life savings. You would assume they would have had to sacrifice capacity to achieve such a feat, but they didn't. This has an industry-leading 10% silicon content, which is how they ensured ultra-long battery life while also maintaining a minimalist structure. The effort put into this alone must have been insane. So far, so good. Let's keep it moving. This back cover uses aircraft-grade glass fiber as the base material, and it offers 5 times stronger drop performance than the previous generation, while still managing to feel silky smooth. Ooh, I'm getting the tingles. Alright, enough foreplay. Let's dive right into what makes this thing tick: the motherboard. For the Find N5, OPPO one-upped themselves and took what was already their most compact board and redesigned it with 2-layer boards in a 4-sided layout. This ingenuity creates additional space for the battery without sacrificing thickness, and at only 1.39 millimeters, they definitely succeeded. But this is what you've all been waiting for: the dual-shielded flexible screen, or as I like to call it, DISFIS. This paper-thin marvel of human engineering is supported by the industry's thinnest stainless steel, which is only 0.1 millimeters thick. It also features a new screen stack technique where the double-layer protective film improves impact resistance by 70% compared to a single layer, so it defies industry norms by being both thinner and more reliable. The middle frame of the main battery compartment uses 0.18 millimeter thick aluminum ceramic. This upgraded material offers higher yield strength and better elasticity, whereas the middle frame of the second battery uses carbon fiber, where the thickest part is, hold on, let me get my microscope, 0.07 millimeters, which is the thickness of a typical human hair, something I'm running out of at an alarming rate. But the moment has arrived to inspect the bread and butter of this operation: the heart that pumps memes from one screen to two, the titanium alloy Flexion hinge. Both the hinge cover, which shields the internal components, and the plate connecting the hinge to the display are constructed from grade 5 titanium alloy. We all know grade 5 titanium alloy is like the Chuck Norris of materials. It's tough, lightweight, and ready to punch through the atmosphere. But this alloy isn't just super strong, it's even more precious. How precious, you ask? Think of it as the unobtainium from Avatar, except it's real, and it's what NASA uses in the Mars exploration rovers. Yes, the very rovers that are currently taking Martian selfies and exploring the red planet use the same grade alloy as what I'm using to browse memes at 3 in the morning. Something I won't be able to do again unless I put this impressive slab of magic back together. But before I do that, I want to mention the waterproofing here. I wouldn't expect this design to have any waterproofing at all, but OPPO has gone all out on their innovative hinged FPC sealing technology by establishing 3 lines of defense against water within this tiny space. The first line is basic plastic sealing with back glue and dot glue, while the second line is made up of dot glue that flows down to connect with the back glue, further reinforcing the seal. The third line has a more fluid glue that flows directly under the FPC, making this a foldable phone that those of us who touch grass can actually use in everyday life. And I want to get back to actually using it, so I'm gonna put it back together and pray to the tech gods that it still works after. Because how embarrassing would it be if, after all that durability talk, I end up breaking it and can't finish the review? Just kidding, it was actually super easy to reassemble, and I'm using it to type this script right now. So what did we learn today? Well, OPPO has proven how far foldables have come. And personally, I used to look at foldable phones as chunky pieces of useless tech that can't survive a light breeze or a speck of dirt. But having used this for about a month now, I don't have to be skeptical on its durability and whether or not it will survive everyday use. And I finally understand why someone would want this. Because what's the point of having just a phone when I can have a phone that's just as thin and doubles as a tablet? In terms of engineering, this is peak. It's nearly as thin as a USB-C port allows while still using the latest Snapdragon without sacrificing battery life. And because of that, I think it's only fair to give it the title of the greatest foldable that's ever lived. Seriously. And even if you think you don't have an interest in foldables, just try it out for a day. Whether you use your phone for media, games, or productivity, you'll catch yourself using the bigger screen way more than you thought. I honestly believe this form factor is the future of mobile devices, and OPPO is currently wearing the crown. So what do you think? Would you consider using a foldable over your candy bar phone if you knew it was more durable than previous models? Let me know in the comments, and shout out to OPPO for letting me tear this thing apart. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.